I just left a lake that's 3 million years old. 20 minutes later, I'm standing in a city with a triumphal arch, a bronze warrior on a horse, and buildings that look ancient Roman but were built in the last 12 years. This is Skopje, the capital of North Macedonia. Something's not right here, and I mean that as a compliment. Over the next 3 days, I'm going to try to figure out whether this is the strangest capital city in Europe or one of the most misunderstood. Stick around, because by the end I still wasn't sure, and I think you'll feel the same way. Getting here from the Ohrid region took about 3 hours by bus, a few euros, and the mountains hold on for most of the ride, right up until the road drops and the capital just appears in the valley below. If you're flying in instead, Skopje's airport is small and easy. A shuttle bus into the center runs about $4 versus 20 or more for a taxi, and honestly the shuttle's just as fast outside rush hour. First stop, and it's impossible to miss, Macedonia Square. I need to actually explain what happened here, because it's genuinely one of the strangest urban projects in modern Europe. Starting around 2010, the government poured an estimated 600 million euros into rebuilding this entire city center. Over 100 statues, ornate fountains, a triumphal arch called Porta Macedonia, and neoclassical facades bolted directly onto plain brutalist government buildings underneath. None of this was here 15 years ago. Not the enormous bronze warrior on horseback in the center of the square, not the lion statues, not the columns. It was all built almost overnight, historically speaking. And depending on who you ask, it's either a proud national identity project meant to put this young country on the map, or the most expensive theme park nobody actually asked for. I stood in the middle of it for a solid 20 minutes just turning in a circle, and I genuinely could not decide which one it was. Locals seemed split on it too, some proud, some rolling their eyes when I asked. One guy running a coffee stand just laughed and said, "Wait till you see the boat." And I had no idea what he meant until I turned around and saw an actual full-size replica galleon docked on the river, now operating as a restaurant. Nothing about this square plays by normal rules. From the square, there's a pedestrian crossing called the Art Bridge, 29 bronze statues of Macedonian musicians and artists lining both sides of it. It's kitschy in exactly the same way as the square, but it's also, if I'm honest, genuinely beautiful in the late afternoon light, and it's the one part of Skopje 2014 that even people who hate the project tend to admit works. Now, cross the stone bridge, and this one's actually old, 6th century. One of the only structures in this city to survive a massive earthquake in 1963 that leveled most of the rest of Skopje, and you walk directly into the Old Bazaar. That earthquake is actually the reason so much of this city looks the way it does. Most of it had to be rebuilt from scratch in the 60s and 70s, which is why you see so much blocky, brutalist Yugoslav-era architecture standing right next to 500-year-old Ottoman streets that somehow survived. It's not that the city planners couldn't decide on a style, it's that different decades left completely different fingerprints. And then the 2014 project stacked a third style on top of all of it. 500 years of continuous trading history in the bazaar, and it feels like it the second you're inside. Mosques, copperware stalls, grill houses that clearly haven't changed their recipes in generations. I ate at a small grill house called Distan on a local's recommendation, and a full meal came out to around $7. Genuinely one of the best value meals of this entire trip, and it's about 50 meters from 600 million euros of statues. That contrast, 5 centuries of trading tradition next to a decade-old sculpture park, is basically the whole personality of this city in one afternoon. I also stopped by the Mustafa Pasha Mosque, Ottoman architecture, free to enter outside prayer times, and the Daut Pasha Hammam nearby, an old bathhouse that's now used as an art gallery, worth a quick look even if you're not into art, just for the building itself. And if you're around in the evening, the bazaar empties out of tourists by sunset and fills back up with locals doing their actual grocery shopping, which is honestly the better time to walk through it if you want a real feel for the place, instead of a postcard version. Day 2, I hiked up to Skopje Fortress. Locals call it Kale, sitting above the city on a hill. It's mostly ruins now, remnants going back to the 6th century with layers added by different empires since. But the walk-up is short, entries free, and the view from the top gives you the whole layout at once. The Vardar River cutting through the middle, the Old Bazaar on one side looking exactly as old as it is, and the new government quarter on the other side looking exactly as new as it is. From up here, the two Skopjes thing actually clicks visually in a way it doesn't at street level. Coming back down, I spent the rest of the morning in City Park, Gradski Park, which is enormous, genuinely green, with ponds and shaded walking paths. After a morning of statues and stone, it's a nice reset, and it's where I saw the most actual daily life. Families, people jogging, a few informal football games, an older man feeding what had to be 40 pigeons like it was his full-time job. A few minutes from the park is the Mother Teresa Memorial House. She was born in this city, which a lot of people don't know, free to enter, small but genuinely moving, built on the site of the church where she was baptized. There's a small chapel inside that's completely silent, even with the city noise just outside the door, which after a morning of bronze statues and tour groups was oddly welcome. For lunch that day, I skipped the tourist center entirely and went to Debar Maalo, a residential neighborhood a short walk from downtown, known for something called Gabelk, basically discounted lunch specials aimed at locals, not tourists. Nobody around me was speaking English, the menus weren't translated, and the food was some of the best of the whole trip. I paid under $5 for a full plate, and it might be the single best value meal I've had anywhere on this entire journey, Slovenia included. If you want one piece of advice from this whole video, it's that. Walk 15 minutes outside whatever main square you're standing in, and the prices drop by half while the food gets better. Day 3, most people already know this part if you caught my earlier video. A short bus ride out to Matka Canyon, cliffs on both sides, water an impossible shade of green. Public bus out there costs less than $1 each way if you catch it from the main station rather than paying for a private taxi, and it takes about 40 minutes. I'm not going to recover the whole thing here since I already did a full video on it, but it's worth saying again. It's an easy half-day trip from Skopje, and it's the single most photogenic thing within an hour of the capital. Back in the city that evening, I wandered past the feudal tower, a 14-meter defensive structure that's easy to miss if you're not looking for it, tucked between newer buildings and the Church of St. Clement of Ohrid, which despite the name is actually here in Skopje, and has this striking modernist dome architecture that looks nothing like the neoclassical statues a few streets over. Even the churches in the city can't agree on one style. I ended the night just walking the riverside promenade as the lights came on across all the bridges. The Art Bridge, the Eye Bridge, the Stone Bridge, each one lit differently, which for a few minutes almost makes the whole clashing skyline look intentional. So here's the open loop from the start of this video. Is this actually a cheap capital? Or does all this flashy renovation come with a price tag for visitors too? Hostel bed, centrally located, about $20 a night. A proper sit-down dinner for two, somewhere nice, around $30. Bus ticket across town, well under $1. The bus out to Matka and back, under $2 total. Entry to the fortress, the mosque, the Mother Teresa house, all free. Even the airport shuttle, at $4, barely moves the needle. 3 days here, comfortable, eating well, not cutting corners. I landed a little under $150 total. Stretch that to a full week at the same pace, and you're still under $350. For context, that's less than 3 nights in most Western European capitals, and this one comes with a 500-year-old bazaar, a fortress, free museums, and yes, 600 million euros of statues thrown in at no extra charge. So weirdest capital in Europe, or the most misunderstood? 3 days in, I think it's honestly both, and I don't think those two things cancel each other out. A 500-year-old bazaar sitting 50 meters from a decade-old sculpture park. A modernist church a few streets from a neoclassical government building nobody planned to look that way. A full-size galleon parked on a river as a restaurant. and all of it costing less than a long weekend almost anywhere else on this continent. I came in skeptical about the statues. I left thinking the contrast is actually the best part. And honestly, out of everywhere this trip has taken me so far, Skopje is the one I keep thinking about most, precisely because I still can't fully explain it.